There's a Sicha, Lakutei Sichas, Chelik Yud Ches, Parshas Kairach, that speaks about some very deep concepts in terms of Hashgocha Protis, how Hashem's providence actually works. And among other things, this Sicha deals with a seeming conflict between the Rambam in Moreh HaNevuchim and Teiras Baal Shem Tov. The Rambam in Moreh HaNevuchim, in the Guide to the Perplexed, says that there are two types of Hashgacha, Hashgocha Protis and Hashgocha Klolis. Specific supervision and general supervision. So specific supervision means that Hashem is orchestrating every minute detail. Hashgacha Klolis, general supervision, means that it's not specific, it's general. So if there's a town with 1,000 people and 10 of them are going to perish in a plague, God forbid, so the number is chosen. Which people are going to be the 10? We'll see. And he actually says that even in the human realm, only tzaddikim who have dveikus haseichel, who have a high level of God consciousness, experience Hashgocha Protis, and then the rest of the people don't. And then in the non-human realms of animal, vegetable, and mineral, then they certainly all operate under Hashgacha Klolis. So Hashem doesn't decide which stone is going to be used in that building, or which tree is going to grow in that field. He decides a tree is going to grow there, not which tree. That's how the Rambam explains it in Moreh HaNevuchim. Of course, the Baal Shem Tov believes in radical Hashgacha Protis, not just that Hashem is supervising details, but to the extent that, I'm sure you've all heard this little story about the leaf falling from the tree and twisting in the wind. That's real Hashgacha Protis. And it's not just in the realm of humanity, it's even for lower levels of creation as well. So which one is it? Remember I told you in the first session, if there's a Jewish question formulated as, is it this or is it that? What's the answer? It's yes. The answer is yes. Okay. So how do we explain that it's both? The Rebbe explains the Hashgacha Chitzoni and Hashgacha Pnimi. The inner and the outer Hashgacha. Can something be true and we don't know it? Now I'm asking, can something be true and we don't know it? Yeah, sure. Does our not knowing it make it less true? No. Okay. So here's how the Rebbe explains this, and I'm oversimplifying. There's a subjective reality and there's an objective reality. The subjective reality is based on the narrative that we choose. So if we believe the world is subject to cruel, random fate, that will be our experience. And the events of our lives will reinforce that belief. In fact, the events of our lives will have an uncanny ability to constantly remind us and reinforce for us that pre-existing belief. How does that happen? How do the events of our lives so perfectly reinforce our pre-existing belief? What's making our life line up in that way that reinforces our confirmation bias? Or should I say, who is orchestrating our life so impeccably that every detail of it is reinforcing what we're already looking for? Who's doing this? Hashem. If you tell Hashem, Hashem, you don't run the world, Hashem says, no problem. I'm now going to meticulously orchestrate a reality for you in which it appears I do not run the world. So even in Hashem not running the world, he's running the world. So, the Rebbe is explaining over there that Rambam is talking about the subjective experience. The Baal Shem Tov is talking about the objective reality. The subjective experience, the way it feels, the way it looks, is it's all random, it's cruel fate. Because that's what you were looking for, confirmation bias, Hashem's backing you up. And that's why the Rambam says it doesn't apply, Hashgocha Protis doesn't apply to anything non-human. Because a non-human entity doesn't have a consciousness. And then even within humans, the Rambam says that it only applies to tzaddikim. Because in order to be able to have such a subjective point of view, you have to be very spiritually refined. So what the Rambam is saying is, Hashgocha Protis is the subjective experience only for a select few. The Baal Shem Tov is reporting the reality that even if you don't see it, even if that's not your experience, the objective truth remains that everything is Hashgocha Protis, not only for you and all humanity, but even for the vegetative, the animal, the inanimate, even the buzzing of subatomic particles inside of an atom. Every movement is divinely orchestrated. So back to Shara B'Tochen. You would read a line like this in Shara B'Tochen on your own, and he says, if you don't believe in Hashem, then automatically you believe in something else. And that something else that you believe in, Hashem will now put you under the dominion of that something else. You're left with a big theological question. Oh, what, you mean there are other something elses that can run the world other than Hashem? Comes Chassidus and explains what that means. Without Chassidus, he'd be left with a major question. What does it mean? Hashem puts you under the dominion of these things? No. It means Hashem allows you, not only allows, co-creates with you the reality that you've chosen. However, what's the good news? What's the good news? The good news is that when you realize that even the seemingly godless world you live in was divinely orchestrated for you, from there, it's a much more logical next step to start believing again. In fact, all the evidence I was given to make me not believe, I realize is evidence that I should start believing. Because who could orchestrate in such an uncanny way a reality that would reinforce my confirmation bias so well? It would have to be divinely orchestrated.